Well, Wisconsin told Elon what the Cybertruck should have already taught him. And that's that no matter how much money you throw at a piece of shit, people still aren't gonna want to buy it. Now, today's normally supposed to be on political figure episode day, and I had one all ready to go on Carolyn Levitt, but I'm pushing that off till next week because I think there's better things to talk about this morning. And the first is that Wisconsin showed up and showed out. First drinks on me tonight, boys, but just one. I cannot afford your drinking habit. Susan Crawford absolutely flushed the shimmel shit down the toilet. Hey, Republicans, you know that word mandate you keep talking about? Well, this is actually how that's done. When you spend more money than anybody has ever spent in the history of a state Supreme Court race and lose in districts that you won just 4 months ago, that's a fucking mandate. When Susan won with 67% of the vote in districts Kamala barely squeaked out 51%, that's a fucking mandate. Although, guys, I do want to say I was wrong about something with Elon, and I'm a big enough man to be humble and admit when I make a mistake. I thought there was no possible way that man could look any dumber than he already looks, and that was incorrect, because he did this. Motherfucker looks like he's auditioning to give the General Patton speech where he rallies a bunch of idiots to go off and fight the Great Cheese War at Idiocracy, the sequel. Nobody's perfect, guys. I can't be right all the time. The celebrating doesn't stop there, guys. Jill Underly also won Wisconsin Superintendent, which is a huge win for kids in the alcohol state, which is good because when you start drinking at 12, you're already disadvantaged enough. You can't afford to have Republicans also running your education system. I'm just kidding, cousins. We are super proud of you. You guys did an amazing job all around. But hey, it doesn't stop there because, you know, Florida happened. And now at first glance, it should seem like this is where our celebration ends, but not so fast. Yes, Florida did what it always does and added 2 of the shittiest people humanity has ever seen to the U.S. House of Representatives, but there was some huge wins inside of those losses. These are ruby red districts, solid 30-plus point Republican-held districts. Trump won in both of these districts just a few months ago by 30 and 37 points. Democrats more than halved those gaps. They lost both districts by only around 14 points. Now, you don't climb Everest in a day, but they just made it halfway to the top. And these seats are up for re-election every 2 years, which means by midterms, they've got a chance to give Republicans a bruise and turn those seats purple. Now, hopefully, Democrats and voters on the left actually showing up and doing their job wasn't an April Fool's joke, and they'll keep this momentum up. Because if Democrats didn't always do something right and then say, oh, you know what, we should go try the old way that wasn't working again immediately after, they wouldn't do anything at all. So let's not make this an April Fool's joke this time, guys, and turn this into a November tradition. And that's going to start with not waiting till 6 months before the next election to worry about messaging and shit. We need to build the same kind of media messaging infrastructure the right has, or we're gonna go right back to where we were. But hey, we've got reason to be hopeful the Democrats might finally be getting their heads out of their asses and showing up to this fight, because goddamn did Cory Booker throw down. While these elections were going on, Cory Booker spent over 25 hours on the Senate floor giving a speech about how Trump is destroying America and what we need to do to save our democracy, and shattering Strom Thurmond's record-long speech against the Civil Rights Act. And I am certain that the demon in charge of shoving the pineapple up Strom's ass every day covered this one in hot sauce this morning in celebration. Normally when senators do this, it's when the minority party doesn't have enough power to stop legislation, so they use this tactic to filibuster and hold up said legislation from a vote. But that's not what Cory did. There was no legislation up for a vote. He just did this to prove a point, to put on some political theater, to rally people, to get out there and show Democrats that maybe instead of just going, oh shucks, well what can we do? Well, you can make a fucking scene, and this is one hell of a way to do that, and this is the type of fighting we've been begging Democrats for forever. So huge props to Cory Booker. Congrats on breaking Strom's record. Thank you for showing your colleagues what they should be doing. And once again, huge congrats to the inroads made in Florida, in no small part thanks to the hard efforts of the people on the ground and organizations like National Ground Game. If you don't follow Z-Run's campaigns, you should. She helps run that organization. Huge congrats to Wisconsin, Susan and Jill for winning their races. And huge thank you to all the voters who took the time to show that we can overperform and win districts and make inroads in places we never thought possible if we just put a little bit of effort into it. Y'all are awesome, and today is a day to celebrate.